Marcus Thompson woke up with a heavy heart that Tuesday morning. The sun was shining bright outside his small apartment window, but he felt like dark clouds were following him everywhere. Yesterday had been the worst day of his life. His boss at the construction company had called him into the office and told him he was fired. 20 people lost their jobs that day because the company was losing money. "Sorry, Marcus, but we have to let you go," his boss had said. "It's not your fault. We just don't have enough work anymore." Marcus had worked at that job for 5 years. He was a good worker who always came on time and did his best. But none of that mattered now. He packed his tools in a box and walked out of the building, feeling empty inside. But losing his job was not the only bad thing that happened. When he got home, his girlfriend Sarah was waiting for him with her bags packed. She had been living with him for 2 years, and he thought they were happy together. "I can't do this anymore, Marcus," she said with tears in her eyes. "You've been angry all the time lately. You shout at me for small things. You break things when you get mad. I'm scared of you sometimes." Marcus tried to explain that he was just stressed about work and money problems. He promised he would change and be better. But Sarah shook her head. "You said that before, but nothing changes. I still love you, but I can't live like this. I'm going to stay with my sister for a while." She kissed his cheek gently and walked out the door. Marcus stood there watching her leave, feeling like his whole world was falling apart. He wanted to run after her and beg her to stay, but he knew she had made up her mind. That night, Marcus could not sleep. He kept thinking about everything that went wrong. He had no job, no girlfriend, and very little money in the bank. His rent was due next week, and he did not know how he would pay it. He felt angry at the world and everyone in it. The next morning, Marcus decided to take a walk in the park near his apartment. Maybe the fresh air would help clear his head and make him feel better. He put on his old jeans and a t-shirt and walked outside. The neighborhood was quiet because most people were already at work or school. Riverside Park was a beautiful place with big green trees, colorful flowers, and a small lake where ducks liked to swim. Families often came here on weekends to have picnics and play games. But this morning, the park was almost empty except for a few joggers and dog walkers. Marcus walked slowly on the main path, kicking small stones with his feet. Each step felt heavy, like he was carrying a big weight on his shoulders. He kept thinking about all the bills he had to pay and how he would find another job. The construction business was slow everywhere, and many companies were not hiring new workers. As he walked deeper into the park, Marcus felt his anger growing stronger. He was angry at his old boss for firing him. He was angry at Sarah for leaving him when he needed her most. He was angry at himself for not being good enough to keep his job or at his girlfriend. Most of all, he was angry at life for being so unfair. The morning sun was getting warmer, and more people were starting to come to the park. Marcus saw happy couples walking hand in hand, successful-looking people jogging with expensive running shoes, and families with children who were laughing and playing. Everyone else seemed to have perfect lives, while his was falling apart. That's when he saw the dog. Under a big oak tree near the lake, Marcus saw a beautiful golden retriever sitting peacefully in the shade. The dog was the most gorgeous animal he had ever seen. Its fur was shiny and clean, like gold in the sunlight. The dog wore a thick leather collar that looked very expensive, with shiny metal pieces that sparkled when the light hit them. The golden retriever was just sitting there, watching the ducks swim in the lake. Its tail was relaxed, and its ears were up, listening to all the sounds around the park. The dog looked so calm and happy, like it didn't have any problems in the world. It was the kind of dog that rich people own, Marcus thought to himself. As Marcus got closer, he could see that this was not just any ordinary dog. Everything about the animal showed that someone with a lot of money took very good care of it. The dog's teeth were white and clean. Its nails were trimmed perfectly. Even its fur smelled like expensive dog shampoo. Marcus stopped walking and stared at the dog. His anger started to grow even stronger. Here was this perfect, pampered animal living a better life than he was. This dog probably ate better food than Marcus could afford. This dog probably lived in a big house with a yard, while Marcus was about to lose his small apartment. Some people have all the luck, Marcus said quietly to himself. Even their dogs live better than regular people. The golden retriever heard Marcus's voice and turned to look at him. When the dog saw Marcus standing there, its whole face changed. Its eyes got bright and happy. Its tail started wagging slowly, then faster and faster. The dog stood up and took a few steps toward Marcus, like it wanted to make a new friend. Marcus had always heard that golden retrievers were friendly dogs who loved everyone they met. This one was proving that true. The dog's tail was wagging so hard that its whole back end was moving. It made a soft, happy sound in its throat, like it was trying to say hello. But Marcus was not in the mood to make friends with anyone or anything. His heart was full of anger and pain. When he looked at this happy, well-cared-for dog, all he could think about was how unfair his life was. Why should this animal be so lucky when he was so miserable? The dog came closer, its tail still wagging. It stopped about 3 feet away from Marcus and sat down again, tilting its head to one side. The dog's eyes were warm and kind, full of trust. It was clear that this animal had never been hurt by a human before. It expected only good things from people. Marcus looked around the park to see if anyone was watching. There were a few people far away, but nobody was paying attention to him or the dog. The joggers were focused on their running. The other dog walkers were busy with their own pets. The anger inside Marcus was like a fire that kept getting bigger and hotter. He thought about his lost job, his empty bank account, and Sarah walking out the door with her bags. He thought about all the rich people who could afford beautiful dogs like this one, while he could barely afford food for himself. The golden retriever kept sitting there, waiting patiently for Marcus to pet it or say something nice. Its tail gave a few more hopeful wags. The dog had no idea that Marcus was angry. It only saw another human who might want to be friends. Without thinking about what he was doing, Marcus took 2 quick steps forward. His anger exploded like a bomb inside his chest. He pulled his right leg back and kicked the innocent dog as hard as he could. Jason Statham finished his morning coffee and looked at his watch. It was 9:30 a.m., and he was getting ready for another day of filming his new action movie. The movie set was only 2 blocks away from Riverside Park, which was perfect because it meant he could bring his best friend Buddy to work with him. Buddy was not just any dog to Jason. 3 years ago, Jason had visited an animal shelter to make a donation. He saw many sad dogs in cages, but one golden retriever caught his attention. The dog was thin and scared, with sad eyes that broke Jason's heart. The shelter workers told him that Buddy had been found on the street, hungry and alone. "He's been here for 6 months," the worker said. "Nobody wants to adopt him because he's not a puppy anymore. Most people want young dogs." Jason looked into Buddy's eyes and saw something special. He decided right then to take the dog home. It was the best decision he ever made. Buddy became his loyal companion, traveling with him to movie sets around the world. The dog was always happy, always friendly, and always ready for adventure. Every morning when they were filming in the city, Jason would let Buddy explore the park while he got ready for work. Buddy loved to walk around, smell the flowers, and watch the ducks in the lake. The dog was very smart and always came back when Jason called his name. But this morning was different. Jason called for Buddy at 10 a.m., but the dog did not come running like he always did. Jason called louder. "Buddy, come here, boy." Still no response. Jason started to worry. Buddy never ignored him. The dog was too well trained and too loyal to just wander off. Jason grabbed his jacket and walked quickly toward the park to look for his friend. As he entered the park, Jason's heart was beating fast. He looked everywhere, behind trees, near the lake, on all the walking paths. He asked other dog walkers if they had seen a golden retriever, but nobody had noticed Buddy. 20 minutes later, Jason found his dog near the park entrance. Buddy was lying under a small bush, breathing hard and making soft crying sounds. When the dog saw Jason, he tried to stand up but fell back down with a loud whimper. "Buddy, what happened to you?" Jason said, dropping to his knees beside his injured friend. Jason gently touched Buddy's side, and the dog cried out in pain. Something was very wrong. Buddy's beautiful golden fur was dirty, and he was shaking all over. His usually bright eyes looked scared and confused. Jason carefully picked up Buddy and carried him to his car. The dog was heavier than usual because he could not help support his own weight. During the short drive to the nearest animal hospital, Jason kept talking to Buddy in a soft voice, trying to keep both of them calm. "It's okay, boy. We're going to fix whatever's wrong. You're going to be fine." At the animal hospital, Dr. Martinez examined Buddy carefully. She was a kind woman who had been taking care of animals for 15 years. She touched different parts of Buddy's body, while the dog lay still on the examination table. "Mr. Statham," Dr. Martinez said with a serious face, "Buddy has bruised ribs on his right side. This kind of injury doesn't happen by accident. Someone kicked your dog very hard." Jason felt his blood turn cold. His hands made tight fists, and his jaw muscles got hard. "Are you sure?" "I'm completely sure. I've seen this type of injury many times before." Buddy was attacked by a person. Jason's heart filled with anger and sadness at the same time. Jason sat in the animal hospital waiting room while Dr. Martinez gave Buddy pain medicine and wrapped his injured ribs. The dog would be okay, but he needed to rest for several weeks. Jason's mind was racing with angry thoughts. Someone had hurt his innocent friend, and he was going to find out who did it. Jason took out his phone and called Detective Williams, a police officer he had met during charity events. Detective Williams was a good man who really cared about helping people and animals. "Detective, this is Jason Statham. Someone attacked my dog in Riverside Park this morning. I need your help." "I'm sorry to hear that, Jason. Bring Buddy's medical report to the police station, and we'll start an investigation right away." Within an hour, Jason was at the police station with all the paperwork from the veterinarian. Detective Williams read Dr. Martinez's report carefully. The doctor had written that Buddy's injuries were definitely caused by a human kicking him with great force. "This is a serious crime," Detective Williams said. "Animal abuse is against the law, and we will find whoever did this. The first thing we need to do is check all the security cameras around the park." Jason felt a little better knowing that the police were taking this seriously, but he was not going to just sit and wait. He also called his friend Mike, who owned a private investigation company. Mike had helped Jason with security problems before and was very good at finding information. "Mike, I need you to help me find someone who hurt Buddy. I'll pay whatever it costs." "Don't worry about money, Jason. Nobody hurts a dog and gets away with it. I'll start working on this right now." Detective Williams contacted the park management office and asked them to save all the security camera videos from that morning. The park had 12 cameras in different locations to help keep people safe. The detective hoped that at least one camera had recorded what happened to Buddy. Meanwhile, Mike started his own investigation. He went to the park and talked to everyone he could find. He spoke to joggers, dog walkers, park workers, and people who lived near the park. He asked if anyone had seen a golden retriever being attacked or if they noticed any angry or suspicious people that morning. An old man named Henry, who fed the ducks every morning, remembered seeing a golden retriever earlier. "Beautiful dog," Henry said. "I saw him sitting under the big oak tree by the lake. Very well-behaved animal." "Did you see anyone near the dog?" Mike asked. "There was a young man walking around. He looked upset about something. I didn't pay much attention because people come and go all the time." Mike wrote down everything Henry told him. Every small piece of information might be important. By afternoon, Detective Williams called Jason with good news. "We found something on the security cameras. There's a camera near the lake that recorded everything. You need to come to the station to see this." Jason drove to the police station as fast as he could. His heart was beating hard as Detective Williams led him to a room with a big computer screen. The detective pressed some buttons, and a video started playing. On the screen, Jason could see Buddy sitting peacefully under the oak tree. The video was clear enough to see how happy and relaxed his dog looked. Then a man walked into the picture. The man looked around to make sure nobody was watching, then walked toward Buddy. Jason watched his friendly dog stand up and wag his tail, excited to meet a new person. But instead of being kind to Buddy, the man kicked him hard in the side. Buddy cried out and limped away, looking back with confused and hurt eyes. Jason's hand shook with anger as he watched the video. "Can you see his face clearly?" Detective Williams looked at the computer screen carefully. He made the video bigger and played it again in slow motion. "Yes, we can see his face very well. This camera is new and takes very clear pictures." Jason stared at the man on the screen. He was around 30 years old, with brown hair and wearing old clothes. The man looked tired and angry, but Jason had never seen him before in his life. "I don't know who this person is," Jason said. "He's a complete stranger to me." "That's okay," Detective Williams replied. "We have ways to find out who he is. I'm going to send this video to our computer experts. They can make the picture even clearer and help us identify this man." While the police worked on identifying the attacker, Mike continued his investigation in the neighborhood around the park. He printed pictures from the security video and showed them to people who lived and worked in the area. At a small coffee shop near the park, the owner recognized the man immediately. "Oh yes, I know him," said Mrs. Chen, who had owned the coffee shop for 10 years. "His name is Marcus Thompson. He comes in here sometimes to buy coffee. He always looks sad and angry." "Do you know where he lives?" Mike asked. "He lives in the apartment building on Maple Street, about 6 blocks from here. I think it's apartment 4B. He told me once that he works in construction, but I haven't seen him much lately." Mike felt excited. He was getting close to finding the man who hurt Buddy. He drove to Maple Street and found the apartment building. It was old and not very nice, with paint coming off the walls and broken windows that nobody had fixed. Mike talked to the building manager, a heavy man named Tony who was fixing a broken door. "Yeah, I know Marcus," Tony said. "He lives in 4B. Nice enough guy, but he's been having problems lately. Lost his job last week, and his girlfriend moved out. He's been behind on his rent too." Meanwhile, Detective Williams called Jason with more information. The police had run Marcus Thompson's name through their computer system to see if he had been in trouble before. "Jason, we found out a lot about this Marcus Thompson," the detective said. "He's 32 years old and has lived in this city for 8 years. He worked for Morrison Construction Company until last week when they let him go. He has no criminal record, which means he's never been arrested for anything before." "So he's not a professional criminal?" Jason asked. "No, it looks like he's just a regular person who made a very bad choice." The police talked to his former boss, who said Marcus was a good worker, but had been acting strange lately. His boss said Marcus seemed angry and depressed about losing his job. Jason felt confused. Part of him was still very angry at Marcus for hurting Buddy, but another part of him was starting to understand that Marcus might not be a truly evil person. Maybe he was just someone having the worst time of his life who made a terrible mistake. Mike called Jason that evening with Marcus's address. "I found him, Jason. He lives at 847 Maple Street, apartment 4B. The building manager says he's been having money problems and his girlfriend left him. The guy is basically losing everything." Jason sat in his expensive house, looking at Buddy sleeping on his soft dog bed. Buddy was wearing a special bandage around his ribs and taking medicine for the pain, but he would recover completely. "What do you want to do?" Mike asked. "Should I call the police and have them arrest him?" Jason thought for a long moment. He could easily have Marcus arrested and put in jail, But something inside him wanted to meet this man face to face first. He wanted to understand why someone would hurt an innocent animal. Jason could not sleep that night. He kept thinking about Marcus Thompson and what he should do. Every time he looked at Buddy lying on his bed with bandages around his chest, Jason felt angry again. But he also kept thinking about what Detective Williams and Mike had told him about Marcus losing his job and his girlfriend leaving him. At 6 a.m., Jason made his decision. He was going to visit Marcus personally before calling the police. He wanted to look this man in the eyes and understand why he had hurt an innocent animal. Jason called his security team and asked 2 of his bodyguards, Steve and Carlos, to come with him. "Are you sure about this, Jason?" Steve asked. "This guy could be dangerous. Maybe we should just let the police handle it." "I need to do this myself first," Jason replied. "You 2 can wait outside in case there's any trouble." Jason, Steve, and Carlos drove to 847 Maple Street in Jason's black SUV. The apartment building looked even worse in the morning light. There was trash on the ground, and some of the windows were covered with wooden boards instead of glass. They walked up to the 4th floor and found apartment 4B. Jason took a deep breath and knocked on the door 3 times. From inside, they could hear someone moving around slowly, like they had just woken up. "Who is it?" A tired voice called from behind the door. "My name is Jason Statham. I need to talk to you about something important." There was a long silence. Then they heard footsteps coming toward the door. The door opened slowly, and Marcus Thompson appeared. He was wearing an old t-shirt and pajama pants. His hair was messy, and he looked like he had not slept well. When Marcus saw Jason Statham standing in his doorway, his face turned white with shock. His mouth dropped open, and he took a step backward. Marcus had seen Jason's movies many times and could not believe the famous actor was at his door. You're Jason Statham," Marcus said in a quiet voice. "What are you doing here?" "I think you know why I'm here," Jason said calmly but firmly. "Can I come in? We need to talk." Marcus was so surprised that he could not think clearly. He stepped aside and let Jason into his small apartment. Steve and Carlos waited in the hallway, ready to help if needed. Marcus's apartment was very small and messy. There were empty food containers on the table, clothes on the floor, and bills scattered everywhere. The place smelled like someone who had not been taking care of himself. Jason sat down on the old couch and looked directly at Marcus. "Yesterday morning, you kicked my dog in Riverside Park." "I don't know what you're talking about," Marcus said quickly, but his voice was shaking. "I wasn't even at the park yesterday." Jason pulled out his phone and showed Marcus the security camera video. "This is you kicking my golden retriever named Buddy." The video shows everything very clearly. Marcus watched the video, and his face got even more pale. He saw himself walking up to the friendly dog and kicking it hard in the ribs. He watched Buddy cry out in pain and limp away, looking back with confused and hurt eyes. "Oh no," Marcus whispered, covering his face with his hands. "Oh no, oh no, oh no." "Why did you do it?" Jason asked, his voice getting stronger. "Buddy never hurt anyone. He's the sweetest, most gentle dog in the world. Why would you kick an innocent animal?" Marcus started crying. Not just regular crying, but deep, painful sobs that came from his heart. He fell down into a chair and put his head in his hands. "I don't know," Marcus cried. "I don't know why I did it. I was so angry about everything. I lost my job. My girlfriend left me. I can't pay my bills. When I saw that beautiful, happy dog, I just lost control." Jason watched Marcus cry and felt something strange happening inside his heart. He had come here expecting to face a cruel, heartless person who enjoyed hurting animals. Instead, he found a broken man who was falling apart right in front of him. Marcus could not stop crying. His whole body was shaking as years of pain and frustration poured out of him. "I'm so sorry," he said between sobs. "I'm so sorry. I never hurt an animal before in my whole life. I don't know what happened to me." Jason looked around the messy apartment and saw the bills on the table. Many of them had red letters that said, "Final notice," and "Pay now or lose service." There were job applications scattered around with rejection letters. On the kitchen counter was a picture of Marcus with a pretty woman, probably his ex-girlfriend Sarah. "Tell me what's been happening in your life," Jason said, his voice becoming softer. For the next 20 minutes, Marcus told Jason everything. He talked about working hard at his construction job for 5 years, always doing his best, and never missing work. He explained how the company had to fire 20 people because they were losing money, and how it was not his fault, but he still felt like a failure. "Sarah and I were together for 2 years, Marcus said, wiping his eyes. "I thought we would get married someday. But I started getting angry about work stress and money problems. I would shout at her for small things. I never hit her or anything like that, but I scared her with my anger. She tried to help me, but I kept getting worse." Marcus showed Jason the rejection letters from other construction companies. "I've applied for 15 jobs in the past 2 weeks. Nobody is hiring. I have $67 left in my bank account, and my rent is due in 5 days." Jason listened carefully to every word. He had been rich and famous for many years, but he remembered what it felt like to struggle. Before he became a successful actor, he had worked many different jobs and had times when he worried about money too. "That still doesn't explain why you hurt my dog," Jason said. "You're right," Marcus replied. "There's no excuse for what I did. When I saw Buddy sitting there, looking so happy and well cared for, I felt jealous. I thought about how even a dog was living a better life than me. All my anger just exploded, and I did something terrible." Marcus looked directly at Jason with red, tired eyes. "Is your dog okay? Please tell me I didn't hurt him too badly." "Buddy has bruised ribs, but he'll recover," Jason said. "The veterinarian said he needs to rest for a few weeks." "I'll pay for all the medical bills," Marcus said quickly. "I don't have much money, but I'll find a way to pay you back." Jason was quiet for a long moment. Outside in the hallway, Steve and Carlos were probably wondering what was taking so long. They expected Jason to call the police by now and have Marcus arrested. But something unexpected was happening. Jason was starting to see Marcus not as a monster, but as a human being who had made a terrible mistake during the worst time of his life. Jason thought about his own past. He remembered times when he felt angry at the world and wanted to break things. He remembered making mistakes that he regretted later. The difference was that Jason had been lucky enough to have people who helped him instead of giving up on him. "Marcus," Jason said slowly, "I could call the police right now and have you arrested. You would probably go to jail for several months." Marcus nodded. "I know. I deserve it. But I'm going to give you a choice instead." Marcus looked up at Jason with surprise and confusion. "A choice? What kind of choice?" Jason stood up and walked to the window. He could see the park in the distance where Buddy had been hurt. "I could call the police right now, and you would go to jail. Your name would be in the newspapers as someone who hurt an innocent animal. You would have a criminal record that would make it even harder to find a job. That's one choice." Marcus felt his stomach drop. He knew Jason was right. Going to jail would destroy any chance he had of getting his life back together. "What's the other choice?" Marcus asked quietly. Jason turned around and looked directly at him. "The other choice is that you let me help you become a better person. But it won't be easy, and you'll have to work very hard to earn my trust." Marcus could not believe what he was hearing. "You want to help me? After what I did to your dog?" "I don't know why, but yes," Jason said. "Maybe it's because I can see that you're not really a bad person. You're just someone who lost control during the worst time of your life. But if you choose this path, you have to do exactly what I tell you." Marcus wiped his eyes and nodded quickly. "Yes, anything. I'll do anything to make this right." Jason sat back down and explained his plan. First, you're going to get help for your anger and depression. I know a good doctor named Dr. Susan Park who helps people with these problems. You'll meet with her every week until she says you're better. I can't afford a doctor, Marcus said sadly. I'll pay for it, Jason replied. But that's not all. You're also going to work with animals to learn how to treat them with kindness and respect. Jason pulled out his phone and made a call. Hello, Mrs. Rodriguez. This is Jason Statham. I have someone who needs to volunteer at your animal shelter. Yes, every weekend for at least 6 months. He made a mistake and wants to make it right. After hanging up, Jason looked at Marcus. Every Saturday and Sunday, you'll work at the Happy Paws Animal Shelter. You'll clean cages, feed animals, and help take care of dogs and cats that have been hurt or abandoned. Mrs. Rodriguez will teach you how to be gentle and patient with animals. Marcus felt overwhelmed but grateful. I'll do it. I promise I'll do everything you're asking. There's more, Jason continued. I talked to my friend who owns a construction company that works on movie sets. He has a job for you, but only if you prove that you're serious about changing. You'll start as a helper and work your way up. Marcus started crying again, but this time they were tears of relief and gratitude. Why are you being so kind to me? I don't deserve this. Jason thought about Buddy lying at home with bandages around his chest. Then he thought about all the times in his own life when someone had given him a second chance when he didn't deserve it. Everyone deserves a chance to become better, Jason said, but this is not a free gift. You have to earn it every single day. If you miss even one appointment with Dr. Park, or if you don't show up at the animal shelter, or if you cause any trouble at your new job, then I'll call the police immediately. I understand, Marcus said. I won't let you down. Jason stood up to leave. There's one more thing. You're going to help take care of Buddy while he recovers from his injuries. Marcus looked shocked. Your dog will never want to see me again after what I did. That's where you're wrong, Jason said with a small smile. Dogs are much better at forgiving than people are. Buddy will teach you about forgiveness and unconditional love. 6 months later, Marcus Thompson was a completely different person. He woke up every morning feeling grateful instead of angry. His small apartment was now clean and organized. The bills on his table were marked paid instead of final note I see. Most importantly, the anger that used to burn in his chest was gone. The first few weeks had been very difficult. When Marcus met Dr. Susan Park for the first time, he was nervous and embarrassed. He had never talked to a therapist before and did not know what to expect. Tell me about the day you hurt the dog, Dr. Park said gently. Marcus told her everything. About losing his job, Sarah leaving him, and feeling like the whole world was against him. Dr. Park listened without judging him and helped him understand that his anger was really pain and fear in disguise. You felt powerless in your own life, she explained. So you hurt something smaller and weaker to feel powerful again. This is not uncommon, but it's something we can fix. Week after week, Dr. Park taught Marcus how to manage his emotions in healthy ways. When he felt angry, he learned to take deep breaths and count to 10. When he felt sad, he learned to talk about his feelings instead of keeping them inside. When he felt scared about the future, he learned to focus on what he could control today. Working at the Happy Paws Animal Shelter changed Marcus's heart in ways he never expected. On his first Saturday, Mrs. Rodriguez introduced him to dozens of dogs and cats who had been hurt, abandoned, or abused by humans. Many of these animals don't trust people anymore, she said. Your job is to show them that not all humans are cruel. Marcus spent hours sitting quietly with scared dogs, letting them smell his hand and slowly learn that he would not hurt them. He cleaned their cages, filled their food bowls, and spoke to them in soft, gentle voices. Some animals stayed afraid for weeks, but Marcus was patient and never gave up on them. The most amazing change happened when Marcus started taking care of Buddy. Jason had been right about dogs being forgiving. The first time Marcus came to Jason's house, Buddy was still wearing bandages around his chest. When the dog saw Marcus, he did not run away or bark. Instead, Buddy tilted his head and looked at him with curious eyes. "It's okay, boy," Marcus said quietly, kneeling down several feet away. "I'm not going to hurt you anymore." Over the following weeks, Marcus came to Jason's house every Tuesday and Thursday to help with Buddy's care. He gave the dog his medicine, took him for slow walks, and helped with his physical therapy exercises. Slowly, Buddy began to trust Marcus again. One afternoon in late spring, something magical happened. Marcus was sitting in Jason's backyard reading a book while Buddy rested in the sunshine. Suddenly, Buddy got up, walked over to Marcus, and laid his head on Marcus's lap. It was the first time the dog had chosen to be close to him. Marcus felt tears in his eyes as he gently petted Buddy's soft fur. "I'm so sorry I hurt you," he whispered. "You're such a good dog, and I was wrong to take my anger out on you." Jason watched from the kitchen window and smiled. He had made the right choice 6 months ago. Marcus's new job at the construction company was going well too. His boss, Mr. Johnson, said Marcus was one of the hardest workers he had ever hired. Marcus never complained, always showed up on time, and treated everyone with respect. "You seem like a man who's learned some important lessons in life," Mr. Johnson told him. On a warm Saturday evening, Jason invited Marcus to stay for dinner. They sat on the back porch with Buddy lying peacefully between them, no longer afraid. "Thank you," Marcus said. "You saved my life by giving me a second chance." Jason smiled and scratched Buddy behind the ears. "You saved your own life by choosing to change. I just showed you the path."